Chapter 10. The Fruit That Falls When Ripe.
You don't harvest a plant, Bombadil said. You listen for when she's ready to let go.
The garden felt different. Still, weighted, like it was holding its breath. There were no new pistils, no stretch, no push, just presence. The plants weren't reaching anymore. They were concentrating. Bombadil knelt beside a flowering cola and pointed to the field of glittering domes along the bud's surface.
You see these?
He asked.
Trichomes,
I said. He shook his head.
Fruits.
Under the magnifier, I saw them clearly. Stalks rising like stems, capped with swollen, translucent orbs.
Each one is a seedless fruit, Bombadil said. Not made to reproduce, made to remember. She puts everything in there. Terpenes, cannabinoids, volatile dreams. Her final statement.
He guided my lens to a single trichome. It swelled like a mushroom just before release.
You see that faint line where the head meets the stalk?
I nodded.
That's the abscission point, just like in fruit. When it's time, it falls. Not from decay,
he said.
From readiness.
We moved through the garden, bud by bud. Some resin heads were still clear, immature, full of promise. Others were cloudy, full-bodied, opaque with intention. A few had gone amber at the tips.
She's close, Bombadil said. She's thinking about falling.
Then he paused beside a plant past her prime. Her leaf sagged, her scent muted, resin heads darkening.
Too late,
he said. He touched a trichome and handed me the lens.
See for yourself.
I looked inside, and I was pulled in. The head felt dull, sluggish, like trying to remember a dream after it's already slipping. The scent was muddied, notes collapsed into one another. There was no clarity, just blur. I pulled back.
She forgot,
I whispered. He nodded.
Every plant writes a story. If you wait too long, the ink runs.
Then he looked at me and said,
Do you want to hear where it began?
I nodded. He sat cross-legged in the shade and began.
They say the first plant grew when no one watched her. She lived full cycle, seed to flower, untouched. One day, in full bloom, her resin heads began to swell. No one harvested her, no one forced a timeline, and just before the storm came, she let go on her own. The heads fell gently, like dew. They soaked into the soil, and in spring, new plants grew, not from seed, but from memory. Those plants smelled strange, like stories that didn't belong to them. Some say they carried the voice of the one who let go.
He looked at me carefully.
That's what you're waiting for. Not a schedule, a surrender.
He guided me to a plant at her peak. Her pistils were brown and curled. Her leaves were starting to fade yellow at the tips, gently withdrawing. The trichomes were mostly cloudy, a few amber, like tiny lanterns, swollen, upright, listening.
"Now,"
he said. He handed me a blade, slim, balanced, wrapped in cedar bark.
"You're not cutting a plant,"
he said.
"You're crossing a threshold."
I crouched, touched the stem, felt a faint vibration, like a pulse at rest. The air was thick, resinous, still. I whispered something I didn't plan. Then I placed the blade at the base. And just before I cut, I heard them hum. Soft, like a chorus in another room. Not sad, not scared, just ready. I cut. The stem snapped with a sound like silk tearing. Warmth bloomed across my fingers. The air shifted. And the scent of the plant changed. Richer, denser, suddenly final. I looked at Bombadil. He nodded.
"She let go,"
he said.
"You didn't take, you received. The resin head is not a signal of yield,"
he said.
"It's a threshold organ, a fruit with no seed, a message with no mouth. And when it swells and tilts and begins to release, that's her saying, 'I'm done. You may carry me now.'"